各位来宾、各位朋友、女士们、先生们，大家下午好。
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow alumni and dear friends, good afternoon.
送走了炎炎夏日，迎来了金色的秋天。中央财经大学校友会2017多伦多财智论坛，今天与大家如约相见了。
In Toronto, it often feels as though the new year begins in autumn, as the days get shorter and the evenings get cooler. So in this crisp liminal space between two seasons, we welcome you to the second Finance and Investment Forum organized by the Central University of Finance and Economics Canadian Alumni Association, or CUFECA.
我是主持人 Danny， 我身边的美女搭档是 Carol。
My name is Carol, this is Danny, and we are your moderators for this forum.
组委会特意安排我和 Carol 作为今天的论坛的主持人，真的是颇有创意和胆识，因为我们两位一老一小、一中一外这样的一个土洋结合来给大家做今天的主持，这也是母校对我们的期待，也是组委会对我们的信任。
Danny and I are both alumni of CUFE, but in different configurations. CUFE is the university at which he spent his undergraduate years, and it is the university at which I wrote my dissertation. In conjunction, we are rather an oddly complementary pair in representing generations of CUFE alumni who may have drifted all over the world in our professional and personal pursuits, but remain tethered by our connection to this illustrious institute of higher learning.
本次论坛的主办方是中央财经大学加拿大校友会。我注意到台下的会长陈长玲女士已经按捺不住她兴奋的心情。陈长玲会长作为滑铁卢大学的终身教授，她对讲台是不陌生的。那么接下来呢，我们就把今天论坛的这个讲台交给长玲，欢迎长玲会长致欢迎词。
As mentioned, our forum this afternoon has been organized by CUFECA, and so it would be remiss if we do not take this opportunity right now to introduce Dr. Changling Chen, the president of CUFECA. She's sitting in the front row, and she simply cannot wait any longer to share her excitement with us. And so without further ado, we welcome to the stage Dr. Chen.
大家下午好 Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really excited, to be honest. 首先，很荣幸的欢迎各位在座的嘉宾校友朋友们一起来到多伦多北约克中心参加2017中财多伦多财智论坛。对此，我们非常荣幸因为我们曾经在温哥华办了第一届论坛，第二届论坛我们会办得更好。Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very deeply honored to welcome all of you to the second Finance and Investment Forum in Toronto, hosted by CUFECA. The Central University of Finance and Economics, or we call it CUFE, is a most well-known Chinese university specializing in economics and finance. Our university's name is very self-explanatory, isn't it? CUFE has proudly graduated hundreds and thousands of alumni who work around the world. Okay? And the CUFECA is the home to our alumni who live in Canada. We want to be a warm home and make everybody fun. Canada is a very pleasant place to live and as a hometown. Okay. The CUFECA was established only 2 years ago. Okay, so we are very young and energetic and very exploratory, just like a typical 2-year-old toddler. I guess that many of you in the room had experience with or are still raising up a young child in the family, so you know what I mean by being exploratory. As CUFECA was trying to explore opportunities to connect our alumni together, deepen our understanding among our own group, we also make efforts to explore opportunities that can connect the CUFE alumni with the broader Canadian society. Okay, so we want to reach out to the outside Canadian professionals. We hosted the first forum in Vancouver, which was a great success. We featured guest speakers, including Mr. Colin Hanson, the former Deputy Premier and Minister of Finance of British Columbia. We were also very honored to have CUFE Vice President 史建平教授 Professor 建平史 to be with us in the first forum. Along with many outstanding alumni and invested guest speakers, we graced over 200 forum participants last year in Vancouver. We were hugely encouraged by the success of the first forum. So here we are today in this room in Toronto. We proudly present you the second CUFECA Finance and Investment Forum. We hope that this will be even a bigger success. This year, we are so privileged to have 3 very great guest speakers. We have the Honorable Joe Oliver. He has many titles. The former Minister of Natural Resource and Finance Minister of Canada. We have Mr. Kurt Reiman, the Chief Investment Strategist of BlackRock Canada. We also have Mr. He Xin, who is the Chief Financial Officer of Wanda America Investment Holding Corporation. He Xin is our alumni. We will also have 2 panel sessions that featured exceptional professionals who are from both academia and practice. Okay. The first session will focus on the discussion of fintech, which is a hot topic today. The second session is equally important. It will discuss the real estate investment. Okay. Our session has a very, very special Chinese name. It's called 财智 Forum. 财, it means fortune. 智, it means wisdom. The name reflects our beliefs in what creates fortune. Okay. Combined together, 财智 tells us fortune comes with wisdom, not the cookies. And how to gain fortune? Okay. Our famous Confucius told us more than 2,000 years ago about what's his belief to gain wisdom. When there are 3 people walking together, one must be my teacher. Okay, that's his words in Chinese. 三人行，必有我师焉. So today at this forum, we gathered outstanding professionals, great industrial leaders, entrepreneurs. We are all here to share our views of the world of the economy, of the finance industry. Okay, I believe that by the end of the day, when we walk out this room, we will all become richer, we will all become wiser, okay? Will later on has the great potential to keep our friendship going into the future years. Okay. By the end, I would like to thank the organizing committee. They are a wonderful team led by Caroline Chang and Danny Cui. I also would like to thank our volunteers, our sponsors, and our donors. Without their dedication and support, this forum wouldn't be possible. The last but not the least, I would like to thank everybody for being in this room today, attending our 2017 CUFECA Finance and Investment Forum. Let's put our hands together, give everybody in the room a big applause. Okay, enjoy the forum. Thank you.
感谢常玲会长的精彩的致辞。当然，我们也要感谢校友会为我们搭建的这样一个平台，使我们能够有今天这样一个美丽的相聚。
Thank you, Dr. Chen, for your opening address and for the hard work you have put into building this platform, which offers such a prime opportunity for alumni to connect.
我们还要诚挚地感谢加拿大华人国际电视台对我们此次论坛的全程海内外同步直播，使我们的母校、我们的校友、我们的海内外的亲人朋友能够跟我们共度一个难忘的午后时光。
We would also like to take this opportunity to thank CII-TV, our media partner this afternoon, for setting us up with international live casting and allowing CUFE alumni around the world to share in this incredible afternoon with us.
常言道，有朋自远方来，不亦乐乎。在座的各位，有好多都是从多伦多以外的城市赶来，对大家的百忙之中的光临表示热烈的欢迎。同时，我们一定记得这样的一句话，大文豪泰戈尔曾经说过：“我们无法选择最好的，是那最好的来选择了我们。”
The great poet Rabindranath Tagore once wrote in Stray Birds, "I cannot choose the best chooses me."
今天，让我们以最热烈的掌声来欢迎前加拿大联邦政府财政部长 Oliver 先生给大家做精彩的演说。同时，我们感谢 Oliver 选择了中财，选择了我们。
Perhaps then, the best of all choices is when the choice is mutual. Today we have the absolute honor and privilege of saying thank you to the Honorable Joe Oliver for choosing us.
今天 Oliver 先生讲演的题目是加拿大和中国在机遇和挑战面前如何应对。有请 Oliver 先生。
Mr. Oliver is the former Minister of Finance, and today he will be speaking to us about identifying challenges and opportunities for both Canada and China under a backdrop of increasing globalization. Mr. Oliver, sir, the stage is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much, Danny and Carol, for the kind introduction, and to all of you for inviting me to the CUFE Forum. I'm told that the Central University of Finance and Economics in Beijing is the top in its field in the People's Republic of China, so I consider it the Harvard Business School of China. I therefore appreciate very much the opportunity to speak to such a knowledgeable group of men and women, alumni who are playing an increasingly important role in Canadian business and in our relations with the PRC. Now, during my career, I had the opportunity to travel across our great land and around the world, doing business and representing Canada, especially in the United States, Europe, and Asia. And there were moments of pomp and ceremony, opportunities for substantive progress in meeting with world leaders, like discussing natural resources with the President of China, watching Prime Minister Harper dress down Vladimir Putin for invading the Crimea, or talking with President Obama at a Three Amigos meeting. But I can assure you that life was not always so heady, especially dealing with the unique world of the bureaucracy. Before a trip to China once, one of my unilingual colleagues asked to take a look at my business cards, which were translated into Mandarin. He immediately informed me that they should be corrected because my name was portrayed pictorially like the Buddha. So I asked him to make the change and submit it for a new version. When we arrived in Beijing, he checked my cards and looked alarmed. Apparently, a decision was made to translate in full the letters PC after my name. They stand for Privy Council, which is a ceremonial organization. But the translation was secret society. So I was going around the PRC announcing my affiliation with a spy agency. Now, I have to say that it's encouraging, even after political life, that some people still remember you. Recently, I was having a dim sum at a restaurant in Markham when the waiter came up to my table and she said, "I know you. You're famous. I can't remember your name, but I've seen you a lot of times on television." "Oh, right. You're the weatherman." Now, hopefully, my economic predictions are better than my weather forecasts. But let me get on to more substantive issues. The state of the Canadian economy in a global and domestic context, and our natural resource challenge, which is a personal passion of mine. And then I want to discuss Canada's relationship with China, the enormous potential and important challenges. Now, look around the world should convince us that Canada is blessed with a stable democracy, a highly educated population living in peace, vast natural resources, a rich and diversified economy, the second largest landmass in the world, and a democratic superpower as a neighbor. Canada is among the best places in the world to live, raise a family, work, invest, and start a business. We trade over $2 billion a day with the United States, and we're beginning to renegotiate the most significant commercial relationship for Canada by far, the NAFTA with the US and Mexico. A free trade agreement with continental Europe has been approved. Our sights are on a bilateral free trade deal with the UK and with China, and about that a little more later. Our bonds have a AAA credit rating with a stable outlook, which very few countries share. According to Forbes, we rank 10th out of 139 countries as the best country in which to do business, with the United States at 23rd. The World Economic Forum said that we have the third most stable banking system anywhere. Last year, we were declared the second best, having the second best reputation anywhere, according to the Reputation Institute. And the annual World Happiness Report ranked Canada 7th out of 155 countries. And we continually boast that we're number one in modesty. Now, we have a proud history, and our future can be very bright. However, the global economy is still fragile, and the world is riven by profound ideological and political differences, including terrorism that is spread across the world. Canada is not an island. Indeed, it is a major trading country. Indifferent global growth, rising protectionism, weakness in the price of natural resource products, all have a significant impact on our growth. I attended several G7 and G20 meetings of finance ministers and governors of central banks, where the focus was on Europe, the largest economic bloc in the world. Christine Lagarde, managing director of the International Monetary Fund, frequently lamented the new mediocre in growth. And no surprise, since GDP growth in the Eurozone has averaged a meager 0.37% from 1995 until 2017. However, growth has very recently picked up, prompting Mario Draghi, president of the European Central Bank, to signal, finally, a winding down of extraordinary measures. I co-chaired a G20 committee tasked with getting every country to commit to strategies that would lift growth by $2 trillion in 5 years from 2012. Unfortunately, each year we collectively drifted away from that ambitious goal, and that is still the case. Part of the problem derives from structural impediments, including labor laws that discourage hiring and a 35-hour work week. Also, social programs that are increasingly unaffordable. Other drags are large national debt burdens and aging demographics, and bank regulations that impose onerous capital requirements which target systemic risk but drive up capital costs and uncertainty, and that in turn reduces profits and induces greater volatility. We really don't have, at least in the Western world, a handle on how much China's economy has slowed down, albeit from very high rates, or how great are the risks to its shadow banking system, or the vulnerability of its real estate market. We do know its credit rating was downgraded by Moody's for the first time in 30 years because of soaring debt, slowing growth, and ongoing structural reforms. As to Russia's geopolitical intentions, Vladimir Putin said that the greatest tragedy of the 20th century, a century replete with tragedy, was dismemberment of the Soviet Union. In the meantime, his economy has emerged weakly from a recession caused by the collapse in oil and gas prices. Looking at the United States, the president is aiming for 3% growth in GDP, but that is a stretch goal since it has been a dozen years since America achieved that rate. Last year, it only grew by an insipid 1.6%. The Congressional Budget Office estimates the economy will grow by 2.3% in 2017 and by 1.8% per year on average for the next 10 years. These are troubling signs on the growth side. Also, stability issues need attention in Canada, including household debt levels, which total more than our GDP, and an unsettled but still sky-high real estate market in Vancouver and in Toronto. And as you know, they were shaken by recent government moves, including a 15% tax on foreign buyers. Still, a massive wealth transfer has already taken place, benefiting the wealthy. Until this year, things were not working out the way they should according to traditional principles. In spite of a very accommodative monetary policy, cheap energy, low commodity prices generally, all highly stimulative, corporate and economic growth has been subpar. Recently, however, growth has been robust, with the IMF forecasting 2.5% for Canada, but falling back to 1.9% next year. The two principal causes for slower Canadian growth had been the collapse in commodity prices, a supply problem, and insipid growth in the global economy. Looking forward, we have two overarching structural problems, one of which is responsive to stimulus and the other only modestly. The first is demography, and the second is productivity, which is lagging, a stubborn problem for governments of every stripe. Putting this in a global context, and this is, I find, really interesting, the McKinsey Global Institute reports that over the past 50 years, productivity grew at a compound rate of 1.8%, and labor grew at 1.7%, for a total growth of 3.5%. Over the next 50 years, the labor force will only grow by 0.3%. So, without an increase in productivity, global growth will decline by 40%. Now, there is no silver bullet for this problem, but there are sound ideas, including an education system that focuses on needed skills, apprenticeship programs, portability of pensions and shorter vesting periods to reflect job mobility. Lower personal taxes make life more affordable, and lower corporate taxes make job-creating businesses more competitive. Less regulation and red tape are proven to enhance growth. Fiscal prudence assures a better present and future. Resource development can provide a powerful lift to growth and enhance national security. Governments should encourage capital investment, entrepreneurship, and innovation, especially in emerging industries including high-tech, clean tech, and fintech. We need to bring more underrepresented groups into the workforce. We need policies that enhance inclusive economic growth, broad-based employment, and a wider distribution of wealth. Critically, countries, including Canada, must deal with historically intractable structural problems like dysfunctional labor laws that impose barriers to job creation, internal trade barriers, tax rules that undermine savings and investment, social systems that encourage dependency and discourage work, and environmental policies that are divorced from economics and finance and I should say science. But structural problems are the most difficult politically, and that's because of entrenched social expectations and economic self-interest. Courageous and creative political leadership is needed. And then there is the potential that flows from free trade, which brings me to our relationship with China. I had the opportunity to visit China many times as a tourist, an investment banker, and as a minister. You all know it's a magnificent country with an extraordinary history, a rich culture, and charming and industrious people. And there's a great deal to admire. One of the most impressive accomplishments is that over 500 million people were raised from extreme poverty over a 30-year period. More than 3/4 of global poverty reduction from 1990 to 2005. Indeed, GDP per capita income rose 40 times from $200 in 1978 to over $8,000 in 2015. With a population of 1.4 billion, China has the second largest economy in the world at more than $11 trillion, a little over 7 times that of Canada's. So there's an enormous long-term economic potential for Canada to develop comprehensive trade, commercial, and investment relationships with China. Now, if you extrapolate the growth rate, as some have done, in China's economy over the past 30 years of 9.3%, and that of the US of 2.4%, China's economy would grow to twice that of the US in 20 years. However, we have to be realistic. Hongpin Lin and associates point out 2 large, unrepeatable factors critical to China's historically rapid growth. The first was the move to a market economy from rigid central planning, and the second was massive urbanization with a consequent improvement in productivity. Now let me be clear, I'm not trying to underestimate China's looming importance. To the contrary, it's It's not necessary to exaggerate its potential growth to appreciate its huge significance in the global economy and international politics. Now, in that connection, let me briefly comment on the North Korean situation. President Xi Jinping has an opportunity and a responsibility to rein in his rogue client state. President Donald Trump should do what he can to encourage Chinese involvement, as well as that of South Korea and Japan. It's clearly in the interests of all those countries, the region, and indeed the world, to de-escalate the tension. But that can only occur if the Hermit Kingdom stops its development of missile-ready nuclear warheads and ultimately denuclearizes. Now, in spite of the rhetoric, I'm not sure where the red line is for President Trump. Still, it's doubtful that America would long tolerate an existential vulnerability to an unpredictable and aggressive regime that it has overwhelming capability to subdue. Also, it seems to me any U.S. president would take military action if Kim Jong-un sold nuclear weapons to another country or to a terrorist organization or launched missiles near U.S. territory. And obviously, a direct attack would be countered with utter devastation. The overarching concern is that a high-stakes game of chicken can result in a tragic miscalculation. So this is a moment for high-level diplomacy to confront the threats of an unstable Pyongyang. China can protect its national interests and play a responsible leadership role to help diffuse a threat to world peace. If it does not, America may act alone with potentially unintended consequences. Now, to return to Canada's relationship with China, I'll first address what I'd hoped would have been a key ingredient, and that is energy. But as you know, the BC NDP government, dependent on Green support, opposes the $6.8 billion Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain pipeline expansion. That project would increase capacity to ship oil from Alberta to east of Vancouver and on to tankers to the U.S. and Asian markets, especially to China. The federal government approved Trans Mountain, but it is mired in lawsuits and local opposition. The other major pipeline is Energy East, which at a cost of $12 billion would transport 1.1 million barrels a day from Alberta and Saskatchewan to refineries in Quebec and New Brunswick for consumers in eastern Canada and for export. It is also being opposed, and now it must contend with a new, broadened scope that the National Energy Board is putting on its reviews to include downstream GHG emissions. Together, these two projects could help address a critical strategic issue for our country. Canada has immense oil and gas reserves, but only one customer. Meanwhile, the U.S. has become the largest producer of oil and gas in the world, and it's rapidly increasing its production of shale. At the same time, it's buying our energy in larger amounts than from any other country and at a discount of well over $10 billion every year. While America is still a net importer of oil, it nevertheless exports oil, some of its oil, at the higher international price abroad. And the same applies to liquefied natural gas. So call it a Canadian subsidy to the United States, something which very few Canadians seem to be aware of. Furthermore, this represents a major lost trade opportunity for Canada with China. Now, I recall a meeting I attended with Governor General David Johnson with the President of China, during which we discussed the strategic complementarity between our two countries in the energy field. Canada needs to diversify its markets, and China wants to diversify its sources of supply. Unfortunately, our inability to transport our energy to Tidewater has effectively made that incredible opportunity meaningless, at least for the intermediate term. Now, in a broader context, the U.S. will remain Canada's dominant commercial partner for the foreseeable future. Therefore, building our commercial relationship with China will be complicated somewhat by the growing political and economic competition between America and the PRC. Pierre Trudeau said that living next to the United States is like sleeping with an elephant. No matter how friendly and well-tempered is the beast, one is affected by every twitch and grunt. Well, being squeezed between two elephants is even more precarious. And that's especially true since we don't share the same political system with China. So we need to proceed with eyes wide open in order to preserve our sovereignty, safeguard our national interests, protect our security, and be true to our fundamental values. But we should advance our cause without fear or timidity, and we can achieve our objectives by confidently building a long-term strategic relationship with a partner who will help us grow our economy, diversify our trade, and our sources of capital. A free trade agreement between China and Canada will test those contending objectives. I believe it is worth pursuing, but with careful thought and consultation. Businessmen and women can help bring together our two countries with their different political systems but overlapping commercial interests. And in that connection, alumni of the Central University are ideally positioned to play a key role in optimizing Canada's evolving relationship with China. Your family background, your education, your contacts, your business experience are invaluable assets, whether you choose to work as entrepreneurs, for a company, the government, or a not-for-profit organization. And I understand that many of you are working in the private sector and have a very bright future. So I encourage you and wish you the best. Canada will benefit from your success, as will China. Thank you.
Because of time limitations, this concludes the Q&A session for Mr. Joe Oliver. We would like to thank him again and offer him a token of our appreciation from the CUFECA president.
Okay, sure.
如果说 Oliver 先生是加拿大政界和商界的领袖人物的话，那么在座的每一位一定对一个名字不会陌生，那就是 BlackRock。
Our first speaker, Mr. Oliver, is undoubtedly a leader of the political and business spheres in Canada. Our next speaker, however, comes instead from a different industry, the capital management industry. And when we speak of the capital management industry, the name BlackRock surely will not be unfamiliar to many of you.
今天我们同样怀着特别激动的心情，有请到 BlackRock 加拿大首席投资策略师 Reiman 先生，他将对2017年下半年全球投资做出他自己的展望。
We have the great privilege of inviting to the stage right now Mr. Kurt Reiman, BlackRock's Chief Investment Strategist for Canada, to speak to us about global investment outlook for the rest of 2017. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Reiman.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Carol. I don't see Carolyn, but I also want to say thank you to Carolyn for all of the organizing. It's certainly a pleasure to be here, and it's in a way humbling, I think, to follow Honorable Joe Oliver in his presentation. We learned a lot from him. He provided a nice landscape for us to think about the direction of the Canadian economy, the relationship with China, Canada's own specific potential economic and political concerns, especially as he characterizes it relative to the United States, Canada's potential involvement in negotiating key geopolitical issues that are facing the world today. So this is, I think, a wonderful way to set the table, to give us a perspective on really where the Canadian economy and where Canada sits within the global economy. So I imagine you all here have something that you want to take away from the day. After all, you're spending a beautiful Saturday, nice weather, sitting in this room indoors. You've come here to listen to me speak. So what's your incentive? Why are you here? What do you want to take away? And I thought of a few things that might be interesting. I mean, I can't poll each and every one of you, but I thought perhaps with this background that Minister Oliver shared with us, we could go a little bit more into the financial market landscape in Canada, what the investment opportunities are, but also think a little bit about what might be available for investments globally. After all, BlackRock, the company that I work for, it does have a global presence. We manage just shy of $6 trillion in assets under management. So there's not a whole lot that we don't cover. There's not a whole lot that we don't have an opinion on. But I've been given 15 minutes, and when I checked the agenda, I'm scheduled to stop about now. So thank you very much, and are there any questions? I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust this ever so slightly. You can't read this, I'm guessing. Is that right? I probably shouldn't even use these. Does that help? In any case, I don't like reading from textual slides, right? So what I have here, just to start things off, on the left-hand side is a snapshot of returns in financial markets. 2017. You might recall 2016 was a pretty decent year. Financial markets did okay. 2017 hasn't been that bad either. If you were a global investor and you had your money parked in stocks globally, government bonds, credit, if you had some of your money allocated in Europe, especially places like emerging markets, you had your money in China, some real estate, you've done pretty well. So I think one thing to really start with here is to try to reconcile the fact that financial markets are delivering returns to investors that I think in many cases have exceeded investor expectations, while at the same time we have a fairly, what sounds like, troubling economic backdrop. Sounds like it. If you read the paper, what do you hear about? If you have your own expectations. We heard about slow productivity growth, which I'm not denying, it exists. Demographic problems, challenges south of the border in the United States with regard to the new administration, trade deals coming unwound potentially, especially the renegotiation of NAFTA, but also the UK pulling out of its relationship with the European Union. There's a lot that we as investors have to contend with. But against the backdrop of what has been largely a decent financial market return environment, what you see is, and also this worry about economic growth, data that you look at in the economy has actually been pretty good. Now, again, compared to growth rates before the financial crisis, it's slower, admittedly. There's less demand for investment. People are getting older. As Minister Oliver mentioned, the demographic challenge is not just a problem for the United States or for Canada. It's an issue for Europe. It's an issue for Japan, importantly. It will soon be a very important challenge for China. And when you end up in a world with low productivity growth, aging economies, the net effect is that growth everywhere is slower. And when you compare, in the domestic sense and in the Canadian sense, when you compare to last year, things were pretty dire. I mean, we had a question earlier about yes, services account for 70% of the Canadian economy. Natural gas and resources, if you were to add that up, it's only in the teens. It's not that large. But what happened last year was oil prices fell to $26 a barrel. And when that happened, you had a regional recession in Alberta. And the recession was caused not just because oil prices fell, but because all of the basis that was there in 2010, 11, 12, 13, and 14 that funded the investment for oil, which was trading at $100 a barrel, suddenly disappeared. So there wasn't the immediate demand for CapEx and for investment activity. And a lot of people lost their job. And that became a real headwind for not just the Canadian economy, it became a problem in the center of the United States. And today, so the comparisons to last year in the first and second quarter, admittedly, are a lot easier, right? If you look at the second quarter of last year and you compare it to the second quarter of this year, it's not really hard to do much better, especially with oil prices now trading in the mid to upper 40s or low 50s, right? Things improved. But we have a signal that we use at BlackRock to try to relay our view on the direction of economic activity. And we call it our macro GPS. It's sort of like the thing that you use to get around in your car. We like to have an idea of where we're headed. We want to be informed about what is the near-term destination. Are we getting a little bit off track or not? Can we get back on track? Our GPS signal is on the left, and you can see there's a green line and there's a blue line. I apologize, I'm colorblind, so I think those are the right colors. But you see this blue line? It's above the green line. All that's telling you, the green line is consensus, the blue line is our signal of economic activity. And whenever the blue line, our signal, which includes things like traffic patterns, searches on Google for consumer goods, we bring in big data on weather patterns in certain economies because we know data is cyclical around the seasons. So we add all this big data into a nowcasting framework and we come up with this GPS. And what it's been telling us in Canada has been pretty consistent with the global economy, which is that consensus is too weak. All of us are too concerned about geopolitical events. We've got our minds still stuck a little bit in the fear that's lingering since the financial crisis. We hear what's going on television, and the message is pretty consistent. Things aren't very good. Our signal has been telling us, even early in 2016, that consensus was too low. Coming into the Brexit vote in June of last year, similar story, that economies were reflating. All the way into and through the election in November. And so when you wonder, how is it that despite all of the pessimism that might be surrounding the investment dialogue, how is it that financial markets have been doing fairly well? and especially areas that have long been forgotten, like emerging markets, from the perspective of a developed country investor? Well, the reason is that the economy has entered not just into what was last year's story, a period of reflation, but one of a sustained global economic expansion. And I'll point to a couple of things. On the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, we have it for Canada. On the right-hand side, this is the view for the G7. So that includes the United States, Italy, France, Germany, Japan. We also have a view on Australia. We have a view on China. And the signals are all fairly consistent. That in Canada, currently, we're running at a rate of about 3.5%. Over the next 12 months, it's likely to be about 2.5%, so a bit slower, but still better than most people anticipated. China, the Chinese economy, we look at and we say it's moving at a pace that's roughly closer to 7% than 6%. The United States is in a 2 to 2.25% range. And when you think about these numbers, what they tell you is that output gaps are narrowing. More people are going back to work. There's more income being generated domestically in most economies. And on top of that, companies are very profitable. That's what we're hearing from Canadian companies, we're hearing it in the United States, but even more so in Europe and Japan and emerging markets. Profitability numbers are very high. And so when you heard Minister Oliver talk about what central banks are doing, the Fed already pretty well down the path of raising interest rates to normalize monetary policy. The Bank of Canada raised rates 1/4 point and likely will be doing more of that, although not a lot. Central banks weaning themselves off overly large balance sheets. They're doing this because they have more confidence in the underlying economy. Not because they don't have anything else better to do. It's because they're feeling that momentum is there. It may not be picking up, but it's better than the deep and dark days that existed in 2015, 14, and well back into the late 2010, 11 years when things were pretty dire. Those conditions are faded, and so it's time to start removing the overly accommodative stance. So I can also give another pointer, which I think, and this is really important, or at least I think it's important to the discussion about where we're headed. We've been in an expansion for a pretty long time. Developed economies, the United States, the recovery was dated as of the middle of 2009. It's 2017. So this is an 8-year-long expansion. And so it's natural to start thinking in terms of, well, it's pretty old, so therefore it's likely to end sooner. And we disagree with that. And I don't know how clear it is for you to see this, but you don't have to see this. If you look at if you can, what you're going to be focused on is the line that represents the current expansion, one that goes all the way back to 2009 and is through 2017. That's right here, right behind you, compared to prior expansions in the United States. And what it shows you is that although it's been slow, the fact that it's been slow means that we're further away from a period when economies are going to overheat. We're farther away still from periods when central banks have to do a lot to restrain economic growth because inflation may be running too high. Again, as we heard earlier, the bigger issue is not one of too much inflation, but rather just getting inflation back to a comfortable target level, which means that central banks are likely, even if they remove monetary policy, are likely to remain fairly accommodative over the long haul. And that means lower interest rates once they even normalize them than where they were 10 years or 20 years ago. Growth is slower, inflation's likely going to be weaker, so therefore interest rates don't have to move up as far. So what does that mean for investments? Well, I'm going to move through a lot here. I mean, this sort of shows you on the left-hand side, incidentally, just how low inflation is relative to target. So if you wanted just a visual representation of that, and in many economies, it's moving lower. In the United States, for example, over the past couple of quarters, inflation is moving lower because wireless providers are in a big battle over pricing, and they're starting to provide data for free. And a lot of these data points, and this is also an interesting thing that I think is worth thinking about, is on this topic of inflation, which is somewhat related to productivity. We all have to ask the question a little bit, are we really in a low productivity world? Because that's what the data tells you. That's what you would be led to believe. But yet, does it feel that way to you? There are a lot of things that don't show up in productivity numbers. This is output per hours worked. So you can only generate productivity if it happens to influence what you're doing on the job. And this was a statistic that was great when you were using wrenches on an assembly line to move cars off to market. When you're working from home and not having to commute 3 hours a day to get into a city, because you can telecommute and you can spend time there, is that not something that's worthwhile to you? Even if it's worthwhile. I think we would all say that that's worthwhile. But it doesn't show up in the numbers. Your ability to communicate with each other over a number of different platforms, instead of sending it by mail, is that not a productivity enhancement? How do you put that into a statistic? It's very difficult. So I guess my point would be on this front, we might actually be a lot more productive. And the deflator that you use to calculate real GDP might be too low. And if it's too low, guess what? Real GDP has actually been a lot higher. I'm not saying that this is the case. I've asked a lot of people, and the answers come back. Really smart people on this subject disagree. And it's usually people will say, we can't measure it. That's actually an optimistic point of view. There are some people who say, we just don't make important things anymore, right? The internal combustion engine, that pales in comparison to your iPhone. Which one would you choose? Indoor plumbing or your iPhone? Important question, right? Some people think that those gains in the early 1900s actually dwarf anything that might be invented today. Sounds like a pretty pessimistic point of view. But there's that view. And some think that we're just on the precipice of a cyclical upturn in productivity. That because we hired a lot of people really quickly, when the economy just started to get going, it pushed down productivity. But now we're at a point where incomes are starting to grow. People will start to consume more, we'll have more output, there might even be automation at higher wages. So I think that this is an important question that we have to answer. We're not going to do it here, and I'm definitely not going to do it in the time I have. But I think it's important just to think about it. So, the Canadian economy here, as we sit here and we think about renegotiating NAFTA, trying to diversify trade channels, an over-levered consumer, right? An over-levered consumer and a very levered economy. One that the Bank of International Settlements, the IMF, the World Bank, the OECD, local policymakers have all warned about. In 2/3 of cases, when you get a debt level relative to GDP that we have here in Canada at this height, in 2/3 of cases there's a financial crisis following. So it's a really important time when we've had a shift from manufacturing, we've had a shift away from energy. Especially because of low oil prices seeming to be persistent. There's a big question mark on what the new source of economic growth is going to be. It's not so easy to diversify trade channels. That's clear. I think, Minister Oliver, you made that very clear, how diversifying trade is as much an economic as it is a political issue. So what's the next source of growth? Where's the next source of investment activity? That's a big question that we all have to ask. Where's the new source of productivity growth? And it may be in green tech. It may be in getting more efficient in producing tar sands. It may be in biotech. It may be in advanced algorithms that are used in driverless cars. Canada is being looked at as a destination for a lot of companies. There's one example that I can give. It's a privately listed company in Toronto. They sell smart thermostats with room sensors. It's called Ecobee. Not many people have heard of it. I have one in my home. I hope to have 2 pretty soon. It's located domestically. It's using technology that competes with Nest, which is a part of Google, and it's a Canadian private company. And the thing that I have a really big problem with, and I think it's an important issue, if you look at the market cap of Canada, less than 5% of the market cap of Canadian companies are in technology and healthcare. 2/3 are in energy, materials, and banks. It's actually higher than that now. That used to be the market cap of emerging markets. But guess what? What happened? Alibaba, Baidu, right? Temasek, all came along, and the emerging market cap is now a quarter tech. So in one respect, Canada looks on the optics of being left behind. So that said, all of this, I'll wrap it up, okay? So I'm not flipping through the slides because I think they're too hard for you all to see. But I would just say this: the economy is doing better than we're led to believe by what we read in the press. It's likely to be, this expansion we think is likely to be measured in years from here, not quarters. The productivity challenge is there, but we might actually be doing a pretty good job in not measuring it. Company earnings are very high. It's supporting financial markets, and so therefore, we like stocks over bonds. We like emerging markets. We're invested in Japan and Europe. We actually think Canada is going to do pretty well with oil prices trading in a range, capped by production in shale, a floor in oil because of OPEC. The financial services industry in Canada is top-notch. And when we don't see the technology showing up in tech companies, we find it in fintech in the banks. So that's an interesting area, and those companies have just been reporting, and the earnings are stellar. Dividends are being raised. So the big challenge is how to disconnect from what we're being told and put that to work in our portfolio. One last point would be on real estate. I think that's important for everybody to be thinking about. Policymakers are leaving me with the impression that they think that they can just turn the dial and everything will be fine. If my wife says the music's too loud, could you just please turn it down? Okay, right? Easy. Introducing a 15% tax on foreign purchases of homes in Toronto and Vancouver could have no effect. It could have a very big effect, especially when you consider that it's in addition to a lot of other things that have been going on, like short-term interest rates going up, which we think will continue, efforts to reduce the amortization window of owning a home, tougher underwriting standards, higher down payments to get insurance. All of these things start to add up onto one another. And so I'm rather a little bit cautious on that, but I do think it takes a catalyst. In order for real estate to really have a trouble, I think it takes something to tick it off, and that would have to be a recession, which I don't see, or substantially higher interest rates, which I mentioned before, I also don't think is likely. So I'll leave it there. I hope this was, helpful to you. I think a lot of you may have come with different incentives for what you wanted to hear today. But I've tried to leave you with a bit of an optimistic message on financial markets. Again, it's something we have to keep revisiting. while also talking about some of the challenges. So thanks for your time, and if there are any questions, I'd be delighted to address them.
「十分感谢瑞蒙先生精彩生动的讲演。我和瑞蒙先生在论坛之前呢有过一面之缘。他问我的第一个问题就是：Danny，你知道北朝鲜总人口是多少吗？
So, Danny was telling me that he has actually met Mr. Reiman before. And at that first meeting, Mr. Reiman asked him a very, very interesting question. He said, Danny, do you know the population of North Korea? Mr. Reiman, do you remember? Don't say it out loud. Does anybody in the crowd know the answer? The population of North Korea. Don't Google. Don't Google right now. Does anybody know the answer?
I think more than 20 million, maybe.
More than 14 million, I hear? Okay, any other answers? Okay. All right, so Danny, what was the answer?
OK， 所以呢，谢天谢地呢，我中学的地理老师呢，我没有辜负他的期望。当时呢，我给出瑞蒙先生的答案是2500万，这个是他比较满意的答案。
Okay, so Danny was very good at geography in high school. So he knew the answer, and the correct answer is somewhere within the 25 million vicinity. So I'm not that good at geography, I did not know that.
确实，当今社会对一个复合型的人才来讲，不仅需要我们的专业技能，同时呢，也需要我们对其他领域，比如时政，比如甚至体育和娱乐，都有一定信息量的摄入。所以今天呢，我们十分荣幸地请到我们的校友，万达集团美国投资有限公司的首席财务官贺鑫先生，为我们来讲讲另一个话题，那就是中美的电影市场。
So what this anecdote tells us is that it is necessary but not sufficient to be good at your own profession. What we are looking for now is interdisciplinary talent, interdisciplinary skills, and knowledge. That means that beyond just being good at what you do, you also have to know something about subjects such as sports, entertainment, the arts, perhaps even movies. And speaking of movies, it is our great honor and privilege to introduce Mr. He Xin, who is the CFO of Wanda American Investing. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. He.
Thank you, Danny and Carol. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I share my slide in Chinese, I'd like to briefly introduce myself and my company. So I'm He Xin Adam, the CFO of Wanda Group in Chicago. I'm also the Secretary General of the Central University of Finance and Economics in North America. So my company in Wanda Group is well known in China, but I'd like to play a video about the company to share with us.
Wanda Group was founded in 1988, and its business has since grown to encompass commercial properties, culture, internet technology, and finance. In 2016, the group's total assets amounted to 796.2 billion RMB, and revenues reached 255 billion RMB. By 2020, Wanda aims to become a leading multinational conglomerate with assets of $200 billion, a market value of $200 billion, revenue of $100 billion, and net profit of $10 billion. Wanda Commercial Properties is the world's largest commercial property company with 32.33 million square meters of property under management. Wanda Commercial Properties has completed 185 Wanda Plaza in cities including Beijing, Shanghai, Chengdu, and Kunming. In 2017, the company plans to open 50 more Wanda Plazas, including in Beijing and Shanghai. Wanda Commercial Management is the world's largest commercial property management firm, having set the world record of maintaining a rent collection rate of 99% for 11 consecutive years. Wanda is China's leading five-star hotel investment and management company. To date, the company has opened 102 luxury hotels in such as Beijing Sofitel, Shanghai Rain, and Hefei Vista, with a combined 32,400 rooms. The company is also building 8 Wanda Vista hotels in countries such as the US, the UK, France, Australia, and Turkey. Wanda Vista is becoming the first Chinese high-end hotel brand. Wanda has already opened 5 large-scale tourism projects, including the Chongbeishan International Resort and the Hefei Wanda City. It is planning to open 9 Wanda cultural tourism cities in Chinese cities. 9 Wanda cultural tourism cities in cities such as Wuxi, Guangzhou, Chengdu, and Chongqing are under construction, while a large tourism project in Paris has been signed. Wanda Cultural Industry Group is China's largest cultural enterprise, with revenue of 64.1 billion RMB in 2016. Wanda Film is the world's biggest film company. Its businesses span film production, distribution, screening, and film studios. It owns AMC, the biggest U.S. cinema chain, and Odeon, the largest cinema chain in Europe, as well as the Wanda Cinema Line, China's biggest. Wanda owns 1,350 cinemas around the world, with 14,347 screens, accounting for 12% of the world's market share. Wanda Tourism is China's largest tourism company. It operates 5 large-scale tourism projects in China. Wanda Kids Entertainment is China's largest kids entertainment chain, owning 115 kids parks in China. Wanda Sports is one of the world's largest sports companies, with strategic cooperation with more than 10 international sports organizations, including FIFA and International Basketball Federation, FIBA. The company operates more than 20 sports events, including skating, football, cycling, basketball, and Ironman triathlon. Wanda Internet Technology Group is China's only open-ended, large-scale online-to-offline platform, with subsidiaries including FN.com, 99bill.com, Wanda Credit, online loans, and Network Data Center. It applies big data, cloud computing, and AI to help upgrade the digitalization of the economy and provide brand new services and lifestyles to consumers. Wanda Financial Group owns investment, capital management, and insurance companies, and aims to become a comprehensive financial holding group with licenses in all financial operations. Wanda is striving to become a model in corporate social responsibility. It is the nation's leading recipient of the China Charity Award and has donated 5.45 billion RMB to charitable causes in the past 29 years. It invested 1.4 billion RMB in Danjai, Guizhou, to create a new poverty relief model, winning the national awards for poverty alleviation and innovation. Every Wanda employee is required to volunteer for charity at least once a year. Wanda leads all the Chinese companies in job creation. In 2016, 203,000 new positions were created, including 85,000 jobs for college graduates. Wanda received 89 National Green Building Certificates and 25 Green Building Operations Certificates and 15 Green Hotel Certificates in 2016. International Wanda Centennial Business.
What a great company. During my employment with Wanda, I was deeply involved in 2 projects. One is MC. MC's acquisition in 2012. At that time, MC was the second largest cinema chain in the world. Now it's the largest one. I believe there were 8 MC theaters in Toronto in 2012, but the company sold probably 7 in 2013. I believe still 1 remains in Toronto. The other project I work on is the landmark building in Chicago, 99-story, the 3rd tallest building in Chicago and the 7th tallest building in the U.S. So my topic today is movie industry. So I will talk in Chinese. Interpret please in translate slide rather than my talking, because it's my personal view, not a company view or non-related to the Wanda or any organizations. Thank you. 现在我用中文给大家讲一下这个主题吧。我接到陈教授给我的邀请呢，我想了一下，因为我现在其实是在做房地产，但是呢，前面有奥利弗先生还有Reiman先生呢讲了很多非常严肃的学术或者是一些政治上的问题，我想呢就给大家讲一点严肃的八卦问题，也就是电影。电影呢，大家都在谈论电影的八卦，但实际上呢，电影里头是有很多技术的因素，也有很多一些创新吧，所以我的话题呢是讲中美电影市场。这个美呢并不是指美国，是指北美，也就是说包括美国和加拿大。我不知道为什么他们会把加拿大和美国放在一起讲，但事实上我做了一点 research， 加拿大的电影市场呢其实不大，大家看一下这个票房，可能看不太清楚啊。2013年，打比方说2013年北美电影市场的票房是106个亿。加拿大的票房呢，就是那个零头6个亿。2016年呢，大概是114亿。加拿大票房呢，也是那个比零头还少一点，大概10个亿。但是呢，我们习惯上还是把加拿大和美国放在一起说，因为加拿大和美国的发行系统啊的统计的这个依据呢，基本上都是一样的，所以说大家非常容易理解。在排名那个票房的时候，都是放在一起排。我们可以看到，北美票房是北美电影市场啊，是全世界最大的电影市场。它有差不多12个亿的观影人次一年，然后有100多个亿的110多个亿的票房收入。但是呢，中国市场现在已经渐渐赶上来了。中国市场在6、7年前，也就是说在2009年左右呢，也是相当于美国市场的一个零头。但是这几年就说每一年的自然增长率基本上都是在30%以上。可以看到，2015年比2014年票房收入增长了将近50%。达到了440亿的人民币的这个规模，所以说呢，当时大家都非常兴奋地认为，2016年可能中国的票房就会超过美国了，因为已经非常接近了。但实际上呢，2016年的票房比2015年的票房仅仅增长了不到4%。在放第3个片子之前呢，我有一个小问题哈，大家看到中国的市场和美国的电影市场， 不知道有没有人知道世界上最喜欢看电影的是哪个国家的人？有没有人能够？印度，还有法国，还有没有回答？俄罗斯啊。实际上呢，这个最喜欢看电影的一个国家是韩国。韩国人均一年要看4.5次电影，超过了美国的看电影的人均次数4次。排名第3位的是日本，日本是差不多1.2次。如果把他们再看那小电影再算上，可能会更高一点。中国的人均看电影的次数不到1次，也就是说呢，整个中国的观影人次差不多12亿，美国的观影人次也是12亿，但是这个中美的人口和美国人口差距是非常大的，所以说这个从这一点来看呢，我们中国电影市场还是有很大的增长空间。这里讲一个技术问题，可能有些人知道，但是估计大部分人是不知道的。也就是说，这个票房，好莱坞把片子拍出来以后放到电影院，大家怎么分这个钱？主要是分钱的2方面，一个是电影院，一个是制片公司。在美国或者在北美吧，这个票房的分成是这样的：大片一上来，如果是特别大的片，咱们超人啊，或者是钢铁侠，首周的放映的票房收入90%要归到制片公司，然后每过2周降低10%，也就是说第2周到第3周，好莱坞拿80%，电影院拿20%，第4周到第5周，好莱坞拿70%，电影院拿30%，可以想象得到，这电影院其实是一个不太盈利的行业，因为它拿的非常少。但是呢，如果你这片子的制片公司呢是比较弱的一个公司，或者片子不太受欢迎，它就可以拿到很多的分成。咱们说印度电影拿到美国来放，实际上电影院可以拿到50%以上的票房收入。这就为什么大家去电影院看，大家说为什么放大片之外，大家还会放一些不这么有名的片子呢？也就是这个原因，因为不怎么有名的片子，电影院可以拿到更多的分成。在中国，这个票房收入的分成呢，就情况不太一样，基本上是个固定值。也就是说，电影院是处于强势的地位，它能拿到票房的53%左右。制片公司只能拿到47%。如果是进口的大片，进口大片的话，之前只能拿到15%，制片公司只能拿15%。现在呢，基本上能拿到30%。这是在2012年以后，这电影总局规定呢，就说我们可以每一年引进3-4个片子，但是呢，对这3-4片子有要求，你分成呢只能拿到这么多。还有一个合拍片呢，合拍片待会儿我会讲的更多一些。这个是最近的一个合拍片，就是那个骷髅岛。OK， 我介绍完这个电影市场的一个现状呢，我们来讲讲这个市场的近几年的一个发展。刚才我提到了，中国的这个票房是任何一个制片公司都不能忽视的。从数据上统计的呢，大家可以看到，我在这个右下角放了一个图，就是变形金刚1、2、3、4它的票房的一个分布。蓝色的线是北美票房在变形金刚这个片子的那个情况，大家可以看到稳中有降，而那个下面那个绿色这个线呢，是指变形金刚在中国的票房那个收入，可以看见是急剧的上升，而且在变形金刚变4这里头呢，在中国的票房收入是超过了美国的票房收入，这是一个非常罕见的现象。左边这个图呢，是指制片公司这块， 好莱坞有6大制片公司，他们这6大制片公司占了整个电影市场的将近85%的份额。为什么放这个图呢？因为中国的电影市场是一个群雄纷争的一个阶段，也就是说，没有一个人是占得非常大的头，大家都是和平友好、共同竞争，和谐社会。这个 slide 的字我都有点看不太清楚了，估计你们看得更不太清楚，我就随便讲吧。刚才我提到合拍片还有进口片，进口片因为受限有34个片子，一年只能进34个片子。好莱坞为了打进这个中国市场，他们就绕开这个管理层的规定，合拍，那就找一个中国公司说我们一起拍吧。这个合作片呢，就相当于合资公司这样的，就不受到这34个的配额的限制。但是呢，并不是说里头挂一个中国公司，或者是找一个中国演员把章子怡请过来，他就能算着合拍片。实际上，合拍片有很严格的要求，在中国对它有很严格的要求，不光有投资比例，它还要参与发行，里头主角要有中国人，中国面孔吧，这个人可能国籍是外国国籍，但是必须要是中国面孔。所以说，合拍片最近越来越多，因为大家都看见中国市场的一个巨大的一个收益。另外一个呢，就是说，北美这个电影市场呢是非常成熟的，从80年代吧到现在40年前到现在，基本上说，这票房的管理的系统啊，非常稳定。就是我当年去 MC 的时候，我看他们这个操作系统，甚至看到了 DOS 的操作系统，我说幸亏我还有一点这方面的知识。在座的有的咱们是2000后或者90后，可能没有见过 DOS 系统，但是在 MC 已经在用了，因为他们这个公司成立于是1920年创办的，所以说它的系统用了100多种系统，但他们能够把这100多种系统整合在一个平台上，所以说这种可见他们的管理上的一些难度，以及上他们的一个成熟程度吧，这些东西都是值得我们中国企业学习的地方，也就是为什么这些年来你能看到越来越多的中国企业走向国外。像左上角那个图是 Mission Impossible， 这里头这个汤姆·克鲁斯大帅哥，都跑到浙江去拍片子，还从上海的一个楼上跳下来。这个变形金刚后面有盘古大厦，又跑到香港去翻这个跟斗，还有里头有中国的演员，有4个中国演员在里头变4哈。变5倒没有中国演员了，但是变5的票房收入在中国的话就急剧的下降，所以说中国因素是非常重要的。这里我放了几个重大并购电影行业重大并购的案例，其中第一个是2012年万达收购 AMC， 这个是我当时主导的一个并购吧，当时是万达以8亿美金收购了 AMC， 当时 AMC 有346家电影院，将近5000块屏幕。现在 AMC 呢已经有660家电影院，有将近7000个屏幕了，世界第1大了。然后是2014年，万达收购了传奇影视 Legendary， 收购了之后呢，我们就看到了一个很重要的进展，长城 Great Wall 的这个设置。所以 Great Wall 呢算是一个好莱坞大片了，已经算是从制作和这个投资发行都可以称得上一个好莱坞大片。但这里头呢，主要的内容是关于中国的内容，所以这个是中国导演张艺谋拍的中国内容的一个好莱坞大片，所以这个是非常罕见的，或者说也是近几年来这个资本力量在这个电影行业的一个展示吧。 下面有腾讯还有华谊在美国进行的并购，这些并购呢，相信大家从报上都能看到，所以我也就不再啰嗦了。所以说，对于这些跨境并购以及这个文化产业怎么样发展，所以我有一些个人的看法或者一些个人的观点去跟大家share一下。首先讲讲 MC 的并购。为什么？因为这个事是我亲自参与的，所以说我比较有发言权。为什么要收购 MC？ 首先，一个企业发展到一定阶段，它依靠那个 organic growth 的话，它是不能满足它的需求的。这种情况下呢，它就一定要去并购。以万达为例，当时在10年、11年的时候呢，它都跟很多国内的电影院谈了这个并购的事儿，有的甚至到了快签协议的情况下，但最后都功亏一篑，没有办法走出国外。那时候也正好是国家鼓励对外进行并购，所以说 MC 就成为我们的并购对象。通过这并购呢，在刚才的短片里头大家也看见了，万达影视成为世界上最大的电影播放企业，占到整个世界票房收入的12%，这个是非常难以想象的，整个世界票房收入的12%。右边是我当时的名片上的 logo， 所以说看到 MC 的没变，但是下面写了一个万达 Company， 万达 Group Company， 这是我们收购的一个成绩，我们把这下面这个小字加上去了，体现了我们并没有改变 MC 的管理文化，也没有改变他们的管理层的一些经营思路，但是呢，这个已经是个万达旗下的企业了。所以说有这个并购的欲望以后，在并购这个环节，大家要做什么呢？也就是说，怎么样对这企业进行估值，以什么样的代价去买是合适的。当时我们在并购 MC 的时候呢，其实很多人认为这个价格是非常高的，它是一个亏损的企业，负债率也很高，很多像很多基金公司吧，都是非常急于想把它脱手，我们在那时候把它接过来价格呢，不算低，但是呢，我们通过这个收购呢，取得很多收益。为什么这么说呢？因为万达收购 MC 并不是一个纯粹的去买东西，而是当时情况下已经有万达院线了，我们已经有一套整个系列的电影院系统，所以跟它呢融合在一起呢，就成为一个强强联手。强强联手呢，就算是一个增加了首先是增加你的那个 bargain power， 你当再去跟市场上谈的时候，你就是综合了万达院线亚洲第一大院线和 MC 世界第2大院线的力量去跟谈。当时我记得在 IMAX， 大家 IMAX 大屏在跟我们收购完成以后，它跟我们每一年的这个合同金额呢，就一下子节约了200万美金，这都是增加这个利润。大家看下面右下角有个那个收购前和收购后的变化，这数字你们可能看不清楚，就是收购的之前的2011年是巨额亏损，收购的2012年，我们当年就实现了5500万的净利润，2013年我们实现了3个亿 MC 实现了3个亿的净利润，万达院线也同样的形成了利润增长，所以这个是资本市场没有料到的，而且这个并购案例已经被哈佛大学列为这个商学院的教材。但是我们怎么做到这个事情的呢？或者说有什么主要的今天可以跟大家share呢？就是说大家在讲跨境并购的时候，都会讲文化差异、语言障碍。那我现在用中文讲，和很多英文听众，这都是管理上的困难。但是这个会不会成为你真正的障碍呢？其实不会。你要想到这个并购的目的，或者说想到这个被并购企业的需求是什么， 实际上这些都不是障碍。他们的核心观点是什么呢？也就是说，他们要求岗位稳定，要求收入增长，这是最基本的生活需求嘛。所以呢，我们当时提出一个非常大胆的计划，就是说答应 MC 的管理层，核心管理层啊，就是说 VP 以上的高管大概有35个，每一年实现净利的10%，就分给他们这35个人。所以说我刚才举了个例子，2012年的利润达到了5500万，我们就拿出550万分给他们35个人。你想想看，平均一个人就多拿了多少钱？这里头那个 CEO 的拿这个奖金的比例是18%，这些都我说的都是公开信息啊，大家都可以上市公司的文件都看得到。所以说，2012年这个以 CEO 为例，他的收入就比2011年翻了一番。等到2013年，看到2013年的利润实现了更多的增长，而且2013年我们把 MC 扶上市了。所以说呢，这个高管的收入大幅的增长，增长一个什么概念呢？2011年这个 CEO 的工资是 basic salary 是60万，他的整个 package 如果能拿到的话，大概是90万。2013年，我们给了他800万。所以说2014、2015陆陆续续就有的高管就退休了，他50多岁他就退休了。当时那个 HR 的一个 head 就跟我说，感谢万达这次并购，他已经提前拿到了退休金了，他去干一些自己想干的事，世界很大，他去走走看看。这个收购其实还有一个就是内容至上，也就是说，最近我刚才说2016年的票房比2015年票房只有不到4%的增长，大家认为这个是不是大家不喜欢看电影了呢？实际上并不是这样的。最近我们出了个战狼的话，票房收入已经达到50亿人民币了，已经列入有史以来票房最高的100个电影之一了。所以说都没想到这部片子能拿到50亿的票房，也就是说，只要你的内容能够吸引观众，自然有人去给你捧场，并不是大家不想去电影院看电影，只是因为你没有好电影。这个是最近流行的几个话题，也是热点话题，我就简单的讲两句。现在这个并购，受到很多争议。国家也陆续出来一些新的政策。我相信待会儿大家可能有人会问我这个问题，我先简单讲一下，就是说，你这并购是为什么？首先要搞清楚，你没有想清楚你为什么的时候，你不要轻易去并购。国家点名批评的一个企业，就是浙江的一个餐饮企业去意大利收购了 AC 米兰足球队。他说，国家就问你这个收购足球队，你能够提高它的盈利能力吗？你并没有足球队的经营管理能力，所以说他认为应该提高不了。另外呢，你收购 AC 米兰队，你就能把中国足球队带出亚洲吗？不可能的事儿。所以国家对这样的并购呢是非常不赞成，或者说想不通吧，至少。所以说反过来说呢，像万达收购 MC 这样的案例呢，其实是个非常好的一个正面教材，就是说我们收购它是因为我们的一个业务的延伸，是我们的一个战略的发展。但是不能说是文化输出啊，因为我们收购它并没有输出文化。虽然大家在 MC 电影院能看到更多的中国电影，但实际上这都是因为中国电影带来更多的票房收入，这个经营者自己自发的去引进中国片子。所以说这个企业有没有整合这个被并购的企业能力是非常重要的。第二个非常热点的话题就是轻资产策略。轻资产策略呢，就是说，有些公司呢现在就是把重型资产卖掉，搞轻资产的这个策略。这个策略呢是对还是错？其实 我个人的观点是认为这是 depends， 重资产有重资产的好处，当年的好莱坞在1940年的时候也是有拍片有电影院，甚至他拥有电影院的资产，但是慢慢的他把电影院剥离出去，慢慢的这电影院又把电影院这个 building 再剥离出去，现在电影院大部分都是租这个房子，主要的这个钱用在这个经营上面，这是用在那个人员工资啊什么那个费用上，而不是用在购买固定资产上面。中国的企业一样道理，在04年到14年，中国走过一个房地产的黄金10年，所以说有很多重资产的企业从中受益，但是这个状况是不可能持久的，所以说这种企业它会陆陆续续的把它的资产抛掉。另外一个很成功的一个转型的案例就是 IBM 它把这个个人电脑的业务卖给了联想，所以它 focus 上它的其他的做那个管理系统，什么 ERP 系统，这样的话它得到了一个甩掉了一些包袱，有更多的能力去做它想做的盈利能力比较大的一些事儿。还有一个第3个热点话题就是所谓的去杠杆，国家要求去杠杆，不要借债。但实际上在座的我相信有1半以上都是学经济的，如果没有杠杆，这企业应该是一个很愚蠢的企业，是吧？就是说在这个世界上没有银行负债的企业可能不会超过0.5%吧，可能有点像 Apple 这样的公司可能不需要借债，还有国内有个老干妈她不借债，其他企业我还没有听说不借债的。所以说借债这杠杆运用的好，能够大大提高你的这个IRR， 大大的提高你的这个收益能力。所以这个杠杆我不认为是要去的它到0，但是呢，同样你要控制这个杠杆的风险，因为你杠杆加大了的话，一旦发生经营上的亏损，或者是发生一些银行方面的一些兑付，这样的话你会导致你的现金流跟不上来，这样的很多好企业就这么垮掉了。像当年的顺驰，孙宏斌的顺驰就是10个锅8个盖，或者甚至是6个盖，盖着盖着就盖不过来了，就发生问题。好，这就是我的那个一个讲演，然后把时间留给大家提问吧。